Hello everybody, I'm TychoCelchuuu and welcome to a Company of Heroes 2 shoutcast. Our match today is between ccart SO3 playing as the Ostheer and Moonpine playing as the Soviets. We're on Ferma and I am ready for an exciting match. ccart, a veteran of Company of Heroes from long ago, and from Taiwan is, I think, where ccart is from, and I know nothing about Moonpine except this player has one of those rare names that has moon and then pine, like 2 words in it. Most people you end up fighting against have 1 word. I was fighting some guy earlier today, like space crocodile or like time alligator or something, some weird name. So that was a thing that happened. And we have pioneers off to the munitions right at the front. That's weird because pioneers tend to lose against combat engineers, because combat engineers will win at long range, and pioneers, if they're going to win, they'll win at short range. So this was actually a bad idea moving up here from Moonpine. But what that means is the dynamic early in the game is that pioneers have to end up charging at the combat engineer squads. And since both these guys suck at fighting, if the pioneers lose someone charging, then it's over. But Russians had a plan. They're going to send their conscripts up, and I guess ccart had a plan. He's going to send his pioneers up. He really wants these munitions. 3 pioneer squads right off the bat from him, and upgrading tier 1 too. So not even building tier 0 in his base, just going straight to tier 1, and he needs these fucking munitions apparently. Look at that. Wow. So he seriously wants that. Most players, of course, will rush either to this fuel or to this fuel or to both. Usually this becomes a hot spot, and this becomes whoever gets to grab it grabs it. But straight to the munitions. Very interesting for ccart. We'll have to see what he has in plan, because he's not an idiot. Apparently he should be pretty good at this game from what I hear. And Moonpine going for a special rifle command, so tier 1 almost immediately after just 2 conscripts. So that's also unusual. Usually you see 3 conscripts. Well, I don't know. I'm actually not super up on the metagame. I thought usually you see 3 conscripts before you get this up, or I guess this 3rd conscript's probably building, right? We can just swap over. No, not even building a 3rd conscript. So real fast with the special ref command, this will probably be for a scout car. Well, we can't see it right now, but he'll get a scout car, and then he'll put flame pioneers on the thing, or flame combat engineers on the thing. And since he's gotten special ref command so early, probably what he's going to do is get a penal battalion out of tier 1, and then they can be upgraded with double flamethrowers, and they're double nuts in the scout car. So there's the M3A1 light scout car, and then there's the penal battalion. I always, whenever I'm talking about this thing outside of the game, oh, by the way, ccart has set up this massive cutoff capping all 3 of these strat points, and just traded that for the fuel. So whenever I'm talking about penal battalions outside the game, I never remember, I always just call them like penal troops or penal squads or something, because like, fucking battalion, this is not a battalion, it's 6 people, okay? I don't know what a battalion is. I don't know anything about the military except that I've never been in it, but a battalion has got to be more than 6 people. So I always think, are they called penal battalions? No, that can't be right. Why would Relic call it a battalion? It's not, but whatever, they're members of a penal battalion, so yeah, it should be called penal battalion members or something. I don't know. Weird capping from all the players. ccart did not want to stay out here forever with his pioneers, did the smart thing and retreated to build tier 0 Lake I remember I used to say Lichte Mechanized Company, but somebody told me, or somebody I saw somewhere, that it's not leaked, it's Lichte Mechanized Company. I don't know. So correctly guess the scout car, nothing crazy from there. And now the question is, he's not even going to dump the munitions on the combat engineer, and in fact he doesn't have a lot of munitions to dump on them. Moonpine only has 1 strategic point captured, doesn't have these munitions until just now, so he's going to get 40. Oh wait, he's not even building a penal squad, is he? Did he cancel it just now? No, he was building a conscript squad. Okay. Well, I don't even know what's going on. I guess he'll get the flamers on his combat engineers. He's just waiting till he has 60 munitions. So rushing the munitions for ccart did keep his opponent off of them for a while, and is delaying this flamer, meaning that the scout car doesn't have much to do. ccart doesn't actually get the munitions, so he's not banking it. And if we go over to ccart, he's up at 60, so that's better, or he's up at 90, so that's better, but still not doing much. And so actually rushed quick tier 2. What? Oh, Yes, Lichte Mechanized Company is tier 1, not tier 2, sorry. We go -1, 0, 1. But yeah, normally you see players stop off at tier 0 first for the Grenadiers and the machine gun. Recently, and by recently I mean in the entire history of my playing Ostheer, which is today, I've been going quick tier 1 as Ostheer 2. The strategy I'm using is from a guy named Corporal Shepard, and he came up with it, and it's pretty neat. And since I have decided to see, look at how much damage you can get from just light infantry firing at this. This is why you have to keep these scout cars away from enemies. You kite with them when they just have the machine gun, and even when they have the flamethrower in there, you don't want to drive straight up. And if he gets this Pioneer, that'll be good. But it looks like they'll get out. Looks like they're getting out. Oh, laying some mines under fire. That's a horrific idea, especially in raid cover. They'll get out. And pushing some PzGrens off, though. So we have a quick tier 2, or sorry, quick tier 1 by the Ostheer, and they're going to get a scout car out. This scout car is just going to shut down the M20. And in fact, this is slightly, oh, it's not slightly similar. It's identical to the strategy. This is amazing. Either independently of each other, or ccart saw Corporal Shepard's post on companyheroes2.org, coh2.org, the #1 fan site for Company of Heroes 2 shit. Oh man, this is eating some AT grenades, unfortunately, so this is going to die now. The light arms fire finished off, but he got the M20, so that's kind of a good trade. You look at the scout car, 80 and 25 fuel, and you look over, or sorry, not the M20, the M3A1, 80 and 20 fuel. So you are down 5 fuel and a bunch of munitions, because you have to pay like 25 munitions or something to upgrade the upgun on this to kill the M5A1, but you know, it does take it out. And meanwhile, he's been using his Pioneers and his PzGrens even to capture the map. Please retreat. Phew, that was close. To capture the map. And so, the strategy that Corporal Shepard thought up and that ccart thought up or got from Corporal Shepard is a quick tier 1. You tech up to the Lichte Mechanized Company really fast. You skip the Grenadiers, you skip the machine gunners, you build 3 Pioneers. Basically, once you've built 3 Pioneers and teched up to tier 1, you'll have enough fuel and stuff to build the Lichte Mechanized Company. So you immediately build the Lichte Mechanized Company, then you build a PzGrenadier. This is where they actually diverge. Corporal Shepard builds a half-track right off the bat. Looks like ccart went for a second PzGrenadier, and then a scout car. So I'll go ahead and explain Corporal Shepard's strategy, which is you get a half-track out, and so then you have a PzGrenadier and a half-track, and then you guess what your opponent is doing. If your opponent... Oof, that was painful. Nice grenade from these guards rifle. If your opponent is going conscript spam, so the inverse sort of 1 engineer, 4 conscripts into T-34 spam with stop-off AT thing on the way. If your opponent's doing that, you upgrade your half-track into a flamer half-track, and that'll shut down the conscript spam right quick. If your opponent is going for M5A1 clown car, flamer spam, or just M5A1 clown car, then you go for the scout car and you upgrade it and you kill it. So your scout car upgrade will come out like, I don't know, like 35 seconds or 45 seconds. It'll finish upgrading 45 seconds after they've got their flamer thing. And so while their clown car is driving around for 45 seconds, what you want to do is you keep your PzGrenadier safe inside the half track, and that's what you do. So I've been using it for all 4 games that I've played as Ostheer. It's worked all 4 games. 2 of them I was matched up against a newbie and it didn't work. Well, I mean, well, it worked perfectly fine, but I could have won just with my hands tied behind my back. We have some freezing Pioneers here. They need to be microed into the fire. So actually, let's take a pause and talk about freezing. Freezing is really just a micro tax, an APM tax. If ccart had Elite Korean Micro, these guys would have just been right-clicked over here a few seconds ago. Whoa, no, wrong direction. And these guys would have been sort of right-clicked over here, and these guys would have been right-clicked over here, because you can't just click on capture and let them do it. They'll probably freeze if you do that. So if you just have a little bit of micro, there's almost always a fire you can just micro into. But that's kind of a weird choice for Company Heroes 2, right? One of the great things about Company Heroes is that you can be a really, really good player and not have good actions per minute. Like the pros, you watch like some of their best games and stuff in Company Heroes 1, they would hit like 80 actions per minute or something. I mean, that's more than your average person, right? But it's because they didn't need to go higher. What is going on? There's just no big battles going on right now. They didn't need to go higher. The APM requirement was really low, and so that's why it's really weird that they put in this cold mechanic where your people freeze if you don't just micro them into fires every once in a while during a blizzard, because there's no challenge in this. It's like, oh my god, where am I going to find a fire? At every fucking CP, okay? There's always a fire. And it's like, what am I going to do? Am I going to freeze or not? Well, you're going to die if you freeze, so obviously you go to fire for 5 seconds and warm the hell up. So it's not like an interesting choice. It's not like a complicated strategic decision. Look at these Panzer Grenadiers just owning up these conscripts. This is a mistake. Oh man, loses the entire squad. He was waiting, holding out for the scout car, but not happening. Don't crush that fire too much. It's not an interesting strategic decision. It doesn't prompt any useful skills. It's just, do you have the micro to keep your guys near a fire every once in a while? And that's not interesting. That's just an APM tax, and it makes it harder for newer players or harder for slower players. Reduces the impact of strategic thinking that much, very slightly, and gives the edge that much, very slightly, to people who can click faster. And if you want a game where people who click faster win, that's fine. It's called StarCraft 2, right? But Company Heroes was never like that, and it's unfortunate that Company Heroes 2 is getting a little more like that. It's not like you don't have to have any micro. You have to dodge grenades and stuff like that. But really, it's not like every unit had to be dodging a grenade or something, whereas every unit you have to micro into a fire. So I don't like that. Whatever. Back to the strategy. So with Corporal Shepard's thing, 3 Pioneers into quick tier 1, build yourself a half track after a Panzer Grenadier, and then from there your strategy diverges. What did I say to do? Oh, right. And then after you've got either your scout car or your half track upgraded, keep spamming Panzer Grenadiers, and then from then, I don't know, fly free, little bird. Once you're into that point of the game, you should be good. You've shut down whatever it is the Soviets were doing. If they went conscript spam, you shut it down with your half track with flamers. If they went M3A1 scout car spam, you shut it down with your car. So ccart is running against the first roadblock for this sort of thing. When your opponent starts getting their doctrine infantry. So that's going to be guards rifle or shock troops. If they're going shock troops, your Panzer Grenadiers are going to start getting chewed up. Panzer Grenadiers versus shock troops, it sort of comes down to whoever's like in cover and not moving when the fight happens. But normally you want to call it for shock troops just because they have 6 people, so things tend to work out pretty well for them. Meanwhile, if your opponent goes guards rifle, they're going to start chewing up your half track and your light vehicle. Luckily, guards rifle are much easier to deal with once you're spamming Panzer Grenadiers, as ccart is doing. We have 3 Panzer Grenadiers out on the field and the 4th being built. Once you're spamming Panzer Grenadiers, it's very easy, I'm just going to say, to kill guards rifle. You just run up to them and shoot them. You do have to be careful if they upgrade the DP-27, which these guys don't have. If they upgrade the DP-27, then they can get some fairly good DPS in on you while you're running up to them with your Panzer Grens. But if they don't have the DP-27, the guards rifle don't have a chance against your Panzer Grenadiers, unless you eat a grenade. So be careful to micro away from grenades, obviously. But, so, interesting, fast tier 1 from the Ostheer, skipping tier 0, where you get the machine gun, where you get the Grenadier, typically the backbone of the Ostheer army. And so, really interesting to see the strategy out from ccart. I chose this replay completely blindly, so I'm very glad it just happened to bizarrely be the same thing that I've begun to play as Ostheer. And so try that out. If you're having trouble against the Russians, who many people agree they're sort of OP right now, try this out. I've only played 2 games, and yikes, lose a Panzer Grenadier, so it's hard for me to speak authoritatively, but Corporal Shepard has played more than this. He came up with the strategy, and ccart is obviously doing the same thing, and ccart knows what he's doing. So both of these players sort of worked out independently this sort of strategy, and that might mean Russians actually aren't OP. Maybe just people needed to work out how to shut down exactly what the Russians are doing. It's funny though, because this is sort of a reactive strategy from the Ostheer, which I think is Relic's intention. They want Ostheer to be the reactive faction, and Russians to be the faction that does whatever the fuck they want. It's kind of a reactive strategy because you have to read your opponent, whether they're going to go conscript spam or scout car spam. It shouldn't be too tough to read it. If they get 2 combat engineers, they're probably going scout car spam. If they get 1 combat engineer, chances are they're going either, but when the conscript spam cuts out, then you know they're not going conscript spam, right? If they cap out at 2 or 3 conscripts, then they're not spamming conscript. You can't spam with 2 or 3. So this tends to work out fairly well. You end up with a lot of pioneers to capture the map, right? You build 3 pioneers right off the bat. Those don't scale well, but as you can see, ccart's able to just send them every once in a while out to the map and capture stuff. You do need to be careful to keep your first Panzer Grenadier squad alive inside the half-track if you're going with Corporal Shepard's strategy, because once the clown cars come out, they'll start trying to roast you right before you get your scout car out. And then once the doctrine infantry come out, you have to worry about that. So I'm having more trouble versus shock troops with this strategy than I am against guards rifle. Oh, and you end up with so many Pioneers that it's pretty easy to repair all your shit. Like, notice he's able to repair the scout car without giving up too much capping supremacy at all. He's got infantry all over the map. We've got a nice engagement here. They're just hopping into the building. Nice engagement here. They're going to see guards rifle, not a problem at all. As long as you keep your vehicles away from them, you can just chew them up. I'm actually surprised Russians dumping so much manpower into these guards rifle. Conscripts are cheaper and better at anti-infantry because he's gone the doctrine, which lets you hit the dirt and build PPSHs. So this just makes your conscripts tough as nails. And in fact, if your opponent goes that doctrine, then your PzGrens are not going to be so supreme. But we gotta see a grenade? You would think a grenade, but no, the PzGrens are just killing people. Nice focus fire on those guards rifle for a while. Even though these are actually the bigger threat, should have maybe focus fire the conscripts before they hit the dirt, force they hit the dirt, then shoot these people, just to lower their mobility a bit. So, yeah, interesting, I think, that Moonpine is dumping so much into these guards. God, bought another guards rifle squad. This one's been hanging out here a while. Don't know why he's doing this. He's expecting maybe more light vehicle spam, but that's totally not happening. All we have is a scout car, and we have a sniper, interestingly, out from Moonpine 2 to try and pick off these PzGrens. So that could be a worry with this sort of strategy, since PzGrens are going to end up being your main infantry, and they have to get pretty close to damage. But the bonus is that even when PzGrens are at like medium range versus sniper, since they fire automatic weapons and since snipers have such low health, chances are if you get some lucky hits in, you'll start hurting the sniper real bad, and then the sniper will die and you'll be happy. So this is working out quite well for ccart. I can highly recommend Corporal Shepard's strategy. I can highly recommend ccart strategy, which doesn't seem to rely on a half-track. I'd be interested to see what he does versus conscript spam. Maybe just micros PzGrens better. Maybe he actually would build a half-track if he saw conscript spam. It's just he holds out on the half-track until he sees the conscript spam, whereas Corporal Shepard's strategy, you build the half-track anyways and you use it to reinforce out on the field. And then if you see conscript spam, you go over to the flame half-track. So let's see if we'll get this scout car out of here. He can see it because he's got conscripts in this building. Huge amount of sight, so that almost lets his guards rifle wipe that out. But lucky for ccart, it manages to pull out. Engine not even damaged, so no criticals on this thing, and he's good to go. So still complete map dominance for ccart, just really good capping power. Soviets kind of have to fault them for not being able to cap as much. Dumping all this manpower into guards rifle, it costs 360 for a guards rifle squad versus 240. Where is it? 240 for a conscript squad. So by the time you buy 2, 4, 6, 4, 8, 12. Yeah, I think it's 3 for 2. 2 guards rifle, 3 conscripts, something like that, or more. I don't know. Whatever it is. Yeah, I'm bad at math, by the way. So he's really giving up map control by buying all these guards rifle. Plus they cost more to reinforce. When they get back, I think it's gonna be 40 or 60 to reinforce versus 30 for the conscripts. These are snipers. That's not even helping. 4 kills on the snipers already. That's impressive. Oh, here's a cool trick. Let's actually watch this fight. Then I'll tell you the cool trick. Stay tuned, folks. Don't change that dial. Don't load up porn and start masturbating yet. Just jerk off to me. Okay, here's a cool trick. This thing, I totally collapsed it with one of these guys' grenades, like a bomb grenade. I don't know if it had been damaged. Actually, come to think of it, maybe I hit it with a half-track first. You can run into buildings now to damage the building. Okay, no, there's a cool trick. I fucked up my cool trick, but now I have another cool trick. So, just run into buildings with, what are they called? Vehicles. In the original Company Heroes, you could do this sort of to open up space on a building. So I could take a Sherman and just like smash it into the side of a building, and this would open up holes in the sides so you could fire out of it, and I think it could sometimes damage buildings if you had like a super heavy tank that was crushing. Company Heroes 2 works much better on every building, so take any vehicle you want, drive it into a building, just like bumper cars sort of stuff, and it's going to knock the building's health bar down. And especially on a shack like this, you knock it down a bit, your opponent hops in, you throw a bundle grenade in, collapses the building, everybody died. I killed a whole squad like that the other day. Not the other day, this day, today, earlier today, this day that I'm recording this. So that was pretty sweet. Here's some snipers. They're women. Can I zoom in on the people? Hello, Soviets. And you're invisible now. So that's a tip. Run into buildings and then smash them. Hulk smash. So shit ton of infantry back here. One of the downsides with this thing when you're spamming PzGrens is that they're expensive as fuck, right? 45, whoa, just 45, I thought it was even more. 45 is still a lot to reinforce. The Pioneers are nice and cheap, 25. But Going spamming PzGrenadiers is going to cost you a lot of money. We have ccart building another Panzergrenadier squad, so this is going to be 5 Panzergrenadier squads, and believe me, it just makes it pretty easy to fight the Soviets, especially if they go guards rifle. The downside being they'll probably go hit the dirt and PPSHs, so that's going to be annoying. But I can highly recommend all of this. And we have a Jaeger infantry doctrine chosen by the Ostheer, probably the most popular doctrines. Sort of second most popular after Jaeger infantry is just like, who gives a shit, is the second most popular Ostheer doctrine. If you watch a lot of the best Ostheer players, what'll happen is they'll be like, I don't know what doctrine. Oh, by the way, this just got butt fucked by Panzerschrecks, which are stupendous. So yeah, when the T-34 spam comes out, what you want is a bunch of Panzerschrecks out on the map, and they'll just kill Soviet tanks. Yeah, you watch good Ostheer players, they do one of two things. They pick Panzerjäger, or they pick Jaeger infantry or whatever, or they don't care. They just sit around. Tommy made a wonderful post. Tommy, you may know from the Frontline Network. Nice series of shoutcasts on YouTube. Check them out, but not before you watch all my videos, and subscribe me and click the like button and join my Steam group and follow me on Twitter and join my Facebook group and follow me on Twitch and all that other shit. Yeah, go find Tommy. He's cool. He wrote a pretty sweet post over on the Company Heroes 2 forums and also on the ccart.org forums, your #1 fan website for Company Hero shit. About stuff like 4 things they could change to Company Heroes 2 to make it a much better game right now. Like, these are just basic things. There's 1,000 fucking things wrong with this game. Look at these guards rifle. But Tommy was like, look, here's 4 quick, easy fixes. And one of the quick, easy fixes was make the... Well, maybe this wasn't quite as easy. This just got killed. Careful with those AT guns. They'll just kill you. One of his quick fixes was make the Ostheer doctrines not suck. Everyone just, like... You watch good players, and they don't choose anything until they have like 10 command points, and they're just like, I'll just pick something with a really big tank at the end of it, like an elephant. We have a double sniper team now. I heard Rogers and Pounder in their latest shoutcast. Go check out Rogers and Pounder. They're on YouTube. RNP. I can't remember the name of their channel. I wanted to say RNP Rogers. That's not right. Maybe it's RNP something. RNP Gaming. Rogers and Pounder. They're cool. In their last, I think it was them. In their last shoutcast that they said, first you get women, then you get men for Soviet snipers. I've never noticed that, so I'll have to start paying attention to that in the future. And then I heard they said it's only men after that. So yeah, this was Rogers and Pounder, I think I remember. So keep an eye out. That was a Vet 2 Conscript squad down, unfortunate there. And just, man, such dominant map control. You really got to hand it to ccart, knowing exactly when and where and how to cap this map. Despite seemingly always being back in his base reinforcing, he's able to keep such a wonderful stranglehold on the map that it's tough to see how, what's-his-face, Moonpine's going to come back from this except utilizing snipers. And these snipers, my goodness, one more volley and this squad is going down. If they decap this real fast, maybe they'll be able to, well, I don't know, now they're retreating, so it's going to be harder. Oh, one guy down, and whew, that was close. Don't want to lose a squad of Panzergrenadiers. That's 360 manpower down the drain. So notice how heavy infantry this strategy is. I really don't think... I still subscribe to my earlier statements, which I've made many times, that Ostheer cannot stay infantry throughout the entire game. It's possible ccart is going to win this before we get too late in the game. Moonpine, big mistake losing his first T-34. Like a wimp. Like, that was just terrible. That T-34 did not do anything for him. What you want your first T-34 to do is crush the motherfuck out of these Panzergrenadiers. So stay the hell away from the ones with the Panzerschrecks, unless you can ambush them from real close and crush them before they can fire. Make them do the Schreck dance when you get in close to them and start trying to crush. They have to move away, and they can't fire their Schreck, and then eventually you crush them, because, you know, it happens. Do that, or much better, just crush these guys. Like, he's got like 6 squads that don't have Schreck. So that's what you want your first T-34 to do. So once your first T-34 gives you some breathing room, then you spread out, cap the map. It prevents Panzergrenadiers from coming in and moving in on your infantry because you squish them. Then you start just getting more T-34s. And once you get a lot of T-34s, then it's really hard for them to use their Panzergrenadier AT, because either they upgrade everybody with Schrecks and completely lose their infantry killing power, and then you just come back with your conscripts. You're like, oh, conscripts are back in fashion, motherfucker! And you come out and you take the entire map, so that's what you do. Or they don't upgrade AT on like all their PzGrens, they just get it on a few, and then it's like, well, I have 6 T-34s, that's an exaggeration. I have 3 T-34s, I'm just going to drive in and squish everybody. And so that's when it's basically time for Ostheer to diversify, maybe get some AT guns, those just like own enemy tanks. Please micro into the, oh, you're dead. Watch them freeze to death. That's really depressing. I'm sad now. So, oof, maybe get some AT guns. Those destroy. He's sat at tier 1, by the way, this entire match. He hasn't even teched up to tier 2. Jesus, that's some balls. Hasn't even escalated to tier 2, battle phase 2 yet. And yet he knows the opponent's got his T-34s out. What are you shooting? Oh, they're shooting at these guys. I was like, why are you killing the Panzer IV? It's been dead since the match started. So, yeah, hella balls for ccart. Doesn't even have multiple Panzerschreck squads. This is literally his only anti-tank. Also, he's getting G43s. That's actually a pretty good idea. Get the Jaeger infantry. Well, I don't know. Jaeger infantry package will let these guys be good at long range, which is what you want. In fact, he's getting Jaeger infantry package on all his men. This ccart, I like his style. This guy is pulling some interesting stuff. I like his moxie and his grit. So he's getting Jaeger infantry. I should have mentioned before also he's getting this ambush camouflage upgrade on all his dudes. Lets you cloak and cover and get extra damage when you break the cloak. He's upgrading G43s on all his PzGrens, and this is such a weird thing. You often see G43s upgraded on the Grenadiers, right, when you go Jaeger Infantry Doctrine, because that just upgrades their Kar 98s to G43s, just makes them better at everything they do. Upgrading the PzGrenadiers, you give up the STG-44s that, like this guy, you see this squad's got their STG-44s, you give up some of those to get G43s. So it looks like you give up, where's the squad? Let's count. They have 2 STG-44s and 2 G43s. So you give up 2 STG, this is just weird, bizarre stuff. You give up close range firepower for 2 G43s. So now you're better at long range, but worse at close range. There goes Pioneers. You lasted a while. At least he's using his T-34 for something other than getting destroyed. Let's swap over to see this guy, how much fuel he's got. Oh, poor Moonpine's starved. So ccart's map control is winning him the game. His opponent wasn't able to get more than 1 T-34 at a time. When you got more than 1 T-34 at a time, I'm not sure I ever finished that thought. Then if your opponent doesn't have enough Panzerschrecks, you just drive them all in, okay? Maybe you'll lose one, maybe one will get really hurt. What's probably going to happen is you're just gonna destroy everybody. Enough tanks between the crushing and the shooting, and maybe you bring your infantry along for the ride. It just doesn't work for the opponent. So, like I said, the Ostheer is going to be forced to get some AT guns, because if you try that just drive-in thing against Pack 40s, they will kill you, so you can't just drive in if your opponent has Pack 40s. So maybe get some AT guns, or, given that he's floating 500 fuel, Jesus, floating a fuck ton. Given that he's got so much fuel, and you end up pretty fuel-heavy on the strategy, any infantry strategy, you end up pretty, look at that icon, I love that. Casualty interrogation is just like this butt-ugly dude lit full-on from some light in his face, even though he's supposed to be interrogating and you're supposed to shine the light in their face. So this infantry-heavy strategy, you want to eventually tech up to tanks. Maybe get yourself to tier 2 or tier 3. Tier 2 would be good for the Stoogs, tier 3 would be good for the Panthers. You can also stop off for Panzer IV somewhere along the way, but that, I think, is an unhappy midpoint. I would either go big or go home. Stug would be going home, Panther would be going big. These G43s doing work. So, not sure I'm quite understanding the logic behind upgrading G43s on every PzGrenadier rather than just the Shrek PzGrenadiers. The Shrek PzGrenadiers being the ones that you want to keep at mid-range anyways. But ccart's got his strategy, he's got his plan, that's what he's doing. It makes him jacks of all trades, master of none. It's certainly working out for him. Wonderful map control is what bought him this game, plus the innovative strategy that Corporal Shepard / ccart developed on their own to shut down the Soviet early game. So to recap that strategy, build 3 Pioneers, fast tech to tier 1, get your tier 1 out, Lake to Mechanized Company, then start spamming PzGrenadiers. If your opponent spams Conscript, you can maybe get a half-track with Flamers. That's the Corporal Shepard way. If your opponent goes the Clown Car, then you get the Scout Car and you upgun it and you own the Clown Car. That's the Corporal Shepard and the ccart way. Try the strategy out. Tell me how it works against the Soviets. Maybe send me some replays where it's working or where it's not working. If it's not working, maybe we can do a noob cast of it. If it's working, maybe it's a cool game. Upload them on coh2.org, your #1 fan site for Company Heroes 2 shit. And They don't pay me, by the way, for saying this. In fact, I have to pay them $7 every time I say the name. It's kind of depressing. I should go back and edit all this out. It's like, hey, visit beep for all your Company Heroes 2 shit. That's what the shoutcast is going to sound like, unless something dire happens to me before I get to edit it. Like, if I get eaten by a bear, you'll know, because every time I say companyheroes2.org, you'll hear companyheroes2.org, coh2.org, your number one place for your Company Hero shit, instead of like, beep. So, okay, that you'll know whether I've been eaten by a bear. So, yeah, send me replays, whatever. You can post them on coh2.org of you trying this sweet thing. Find Corporal Shepard's strategy. It's posted somewhere on coh2.org. It's kind of an old post, maybe even from the alpha. But play back over. I hope you enjoyed this game. I really enjoyed it. ccart's masterful early game strategy, plus masterful map control, plus blatant misuse, I think, of T-34s from Moonpine, and over-reliance on Guard's Rifle from Moonpine. Is my Company Heroes 2 making that weird noise? I don't know. Is what lost Moonpine the game. This is what won ccart the game. I don't like how much he's floating. Must be... there's no excuse for floating that. I had enough for an elephant last time I tried this strategy. Okay, that was fun. Bye.